At the base of Mikel Arteta's 4-3-3, Thomas Partey had been excelling in 2022, but after being subbed off with an injury against Crystal Palace, today we have a massive update on his fitness. Also, what new tactics are we now set to see from Mikel Arteta? What's the latest on Darwin Nunez? And how will Arsenal line up against Brighton in the gargantuan game at the weekend? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel, and we are back again with all of the latest Arsenal news. But before, I have a cheeky little announcement, and that is that your boy has officially launched his second channel. It is simply called Babs, and essentially what it will be is bite-sized versions of these Arsenal news videos. But as well as that, we're going to have live streams, vlogs, career modes and other interesting and creative content coming soon. The links will be down below in the description if you guys would indeed like to subscribe. On top of that, smash a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe if you're new. And starting off with Arsenal's Ghanaian midfielder in Thomas Partey. Life as an Arsenal fan this week has been very tough. It all started off with a horrific game at Selhurst Park, losing 3-0, but then you also have the news that Kieran Tierney, our first team left back, is set to miss the rest of the season. You're just thinking to yourself that it can't get any worse, surely. Well, unfortunately, it just has. As Arsenal confirmed on their official website, Thomas has since returned to further assessment, and a subsequent scan has shown muscle damage to his right thigh. We will continue to assess Thomas in the coming weeks, during which time he will also receive further specialist consultations. That basically confirms that this is a grade 1 or grade 2 tear, and if it is a grade 2 tear, then we are talking at least 3 to 4 weeks on the sidelines for the Ghanaian excellence. But on a potential return, according to James Bench, a source with knowledge of Thomas Partey's injury situation, it's hopeful that he will be back before the end of the season. It's the next 5 games are going to be ultimately very decisive, and those games are Brighton at home on the weekend, Southampton away, you got Chelsea away, United at home, followed by West Ham United away. With Spurs being the third last game of the season, I think that's a game Arsenal earmark as the potential return of Thomas Partey, fingers crossed as long as things go to plan. But any game that Partey misses from now until the end of the season, it's going to be gargantuan because of how important he is to this Arsenal team. Playing in the base of a 4-3-3, you are the anchor of that team. Not just that, but Thomas Partey was excelling in 2022 to take out such an important facet of the team. Now Mikel Arteta is going to have to show the Arsenal fans what he's really made of. But on the topic of stepping up, that now has to be the case also with Albert Sambi Lokonga. And one thing that I will say on Sambi is that he's a player that likes to take responsibility, and that's one of the things that Vincent Kompany, his ex-manager, said Sambi excels at. That is a very important trait to have when you're playing as a number 6, because of how reliant Arsenal will be in terms of ball progression. And also alongside in Granit Xhaka, I think Xhaka and Sambi could be a better partnership that we saw with Partey and Sambi. That's because Partey and Sambi are similar players in a sense. They're both right footers, and therefore when Sambi was asked to play that left half space role, the left deep line playmaking role, it wasn't suited to his entire game. To then have the left foot of Granit Xhaka alongside him instead, I think we could see a far more balanced midfield partnership. As things stand, we have no Tomiyasu, no Thomas Partey, no Kieran Tierney. Those are 3 very important players, so for Arteta now, we have to now see how able is he to adapt and change his tactics. And on the tactical side, I think that we might see a few new ones coming from the Arsenal boss. And this is how I think Arsenal might line up in the absence of Tierney and Partey. You're going to have Ben White and Gabriel anchoring as per. Cedric Soares will be inverted on the right hand side. Lokonga will act as almost a like-for-like replacement for Thomas Partey, but the key change is going to be the role of Granit Xhaka. Instead of playing as a box-to-box, I think he's now going to have to play as almost a left centre-back in the build-up phase. And that means that Nuno Tavares will be given more license to go forwards, which he is far more suited to. But then going into that front line, I think Saka still starts, and likewise Martin Odegaard. And with those 2 number 10s behind the striker, I don't think you need a false 9, and if that was to be the case, we may see Mikel Arteta transition into an outlet type of striker, and perfect for that is a centre forward in Gabriel Martinelli. I do believe that we might see Mikel Arteta revert to the 4-2-3-1, having the double pivot of Granit Xhaka and Sambi Lokonga playing deeper. When you're starting Saka, Odegaard and Smith Rowe, these are all players that get attracted to the ball, and you don't have many runners in behind providing Arsenal an outlet. And essentially speaking, if we see Arteta being bold and brave, we may see this brand new tactic and a brand new front four of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Martin Odegaard and Emil Smith Rowe for the first ever time. How do you guys want to see Mikel Arteta adapt his tactics? Do you want to see Gabriel Martinelli start as a striker? Do you trust Nuno Tavares? And most importantly, in Albert Albert Sambi Lukonga, can he step up in Thomas Partey's absence? Moving on to the transfer news and starting off with Benfica's Darwin Nunez. According to Cesar Luis Merlo, a South American reporter, Darwin Nunez, a striker with 28 goals in 33 matches, is likely to leave Benfica. Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona having all asked the Portuguese club for his situation, but to sell him they want at least 80 million euros. It's a price tag that I think Arsenal can afford, and Arsenal will have money to spend. But more importantly, is Darwin Nunez worth that sort of money? We're looking at the current transfer market of strikers. There aren't many out-and-out goal scorers that are actually available for that sort of price tag. The likes of Alexander Isak, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and co, these players have shown in the past they can score goals, but in this specific season they haven't been doing it. And that Portuguese league has provided some top players in the past, Ruben Dias, Edison at Man City, but even Liverpool recently signed a player out of Portugal, and that being Luis Diaz, and he is also now thriving in the Premier League. According to Ryan Taylor of The Express, he says the latest on Darwin Nunez is that Arsenal and Man United consult Benfica over terms of the deal. The asking price now is £67 million, with agent Edgardo La Salvia determined to beat Jorge Mendes to any sale. So agents are trying to push this deal over the line, and that could be important. But for Arsenal, as they showed in the last transfer window, Arsenal don't want to work with these big super agents. But if Arsenal were then serious about a player like Darwin Nunez, they may have to go through a super agent like Jorge Mendes. Not only do we have to look into that, but also the price tag there of £67 million. I don't think it's going to be that much in terms of the base price tag. I think what Arsenal might do to get this deal over the line is have a lot of add-ons included in the contract. Talking about strikers, according to the Telegraph in the UK, Arsenal have cooled their interest in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. This makes total sense because even though in the past I have advocated DCL, that was last season where he was scoring more goals and showing signs of a top striker. His form has dropped off drastically, and now that he's returned for Everton, a team that is fighting relegation, having watched him play yesterday against Burnley, I didn't see any sort of aggression in that final third, trying to attack the balls and score goals like we have seen in the past from DCL. So I can understand why Arsenal have cooled their interest, but saying that, if Everton were to get relegated, we would see a drastic drop off in the price of DCL, and if that was to be the case, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal tried to sign Calvert-Lewin as a backup striking type of option. Would you guys then be interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin? But talking about forwards, what about RB Leipzig's Christopher Nkunku? Well, according to Foot Mercato, they claim that PSG are looking to bring back Christopher Nkunku this summer, although Arsenal and Barcelona also have interest. I've been trying to manifest Nkunku to Arsenal, and now we have received the first link. I'm still not sure of the overall reliability, but what I will say, 26 goals and assists in the Bundesliga and 7 goals in 5 appearances in the Champions League. Nkunku has the stats to back it up, so if the price tag of around £55 million is to be believed, I think for Arsenal Football Club, as long as we were to get Champions League footy, I think Nkunku as that false 9 type of profile, if that is what Mikel Arteta wants, should be one of our number one priorities. Moving on, let's talk Arsenal versus Brighton. This is going to be a must-win game for Arsenal against Brighton at the Emirates Stadium, a team that might be out of form, but for Arsenal they have posed threats in the past and they might pose it again. But in terms of Brighton's recent form, this is a team that has lost 4 out of the last 5 league games. In comparison, Arsenal have won 3 out of their last 5 games, but have lost 2 out of their last 3. And as shown in the past against Arsenal, teams that might be out of form can still cause us issues. And the prime example is December earlier on in the season. In the midweek, we went to Old Trafford, we lost 3 goals to 2, it can happen. But the game after that, we went to Goodison Park, an out of form relegation fighting Everton, and gave an out of form Everton one of the only few wins of the season. Key this time round is that the game is at the Emirates, and at home Arsenal are a different animal, so hopefully that's the case once again. In terms of the Arsenal team news, Thomas Partey of course is out with a thigh injury, Takehiro Tomiyasu is still recovering from his calf injury, and Kieran Tierney of course is out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. So how on earth is Mikel Arteta going to line up? Well, here's what I think. Ramsdale on goal, we're going to go with a 4-2-3-1 and a back four of Cedric White, Gabriel and Nuno Tavares, a midfield pivot of Xhaka and Lukonga, and a 3 of Martin Odegaard, Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka behind his striker in Gabriel Martinelli. I understand that quite a few Arsenal fans don't want to see Tavares start this game, but what I will say is if we see Arteta use Tavares tactically right, using him as an out-and-out wing-back and having Xhaka drop down in the build-up, on that left-hand side, as Smith-Rowe and Tavares showed in the first half of the season, they can be a very decent combination. And once again, going forwards, as I said earlier on in the video, if you're going to have 2 number 10s playing in between the lines in Martin Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe, you just can't have a false 9 profile like Alexander Lacazette. I think this could be the perfect game to start Martinelli as that centre forward, as the outlet in behind. Tactically, of course, Brighton play as a 5 at the back team. And in the past, in the game at their ground at the Amex, they caused Arsenal a lot of issues out wide with the wing backs. So for this this game, Arsenal's attackers are going to have to track back very well, but also in terms of going forwards, our midfield is going to have to impose themselves. Graham Potter and Arsenal says Monday night at Selhurst Park is a different environment to Saturday afternoon at the Emirates. That's quite an important factor. It's a tough game. You can see the quality Arsenal have, even though Palace wasn't one of their stronger performances. Graham Potter has caused Arsenal quite a few issues in the past, and likewise Mikel Arteta, so this is going to be a very tough tactical battle. It's a must-win game that if Arsenal were to collect 3 points, not only will we go above Spurs, but also apply massive pressure to them as they go away to Villa Park later on in the same day. But what are your own thoughts going into this game? How do you want to see Mikel Arteta tactically line up? And most importantly, what is your Arsenal versus Brighton matchday predictions? Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and let's start off with some quick fire transfer news, and starting off with Real Madrid and their Spanish playmaker in Marco Asensio, as his agent says that AC Milan are an option even if there are offers from a couple of English clubs, including Arsenal. We are ready to evaluate every option. Back in 2018, Marco Asensio was a top young player and a superstar in the making, but unfortunately since then he suffered quite a few injuries to his knee and he has not become the player that he once promised to become. 26 years of age, entering the final year of his Real Madrid contract. Even though he is going to be available, I just don't think Arsenal are going to sign. But talking about Real Madrid players, according to reports in Spain, Arsenal are mulling over a move to sign former Tottenham star Gareth Bale as a free agent in the summer. Gareth Bale to Arsenal, nah, this is not going to happen either. Yes, he's going to be a free agent, yes, he's going to be available, and he's definitely going to move somewhere. But for an Arsenal team that has worked so hard to address their wage structure, to bring in a free agent has been Gareth Bale, but will still ask for massive wages. If Arsenal are going to sign a winger, it will either be a player that is at the peak of his powers or a player that's young and upcoming like Cody Gakpo. Arsenal's loanee Lucas Torreira has been named the Fiorentina Player of the Month for March, the second time the Uruguayan has won the award, and he is thriving in Florence. And looking at Arsenal's current situation in that central midfield, a player like Lucas Torreira might have been pretty useful, but hey, that's hindsight. And finally, according to reliable reports in Spain, Brazil wants to hire Pep Guardiola as the national team's new head coach after the 2022 World Cup, and they are very confident about reaching an agreement with him. First things first, if he was to manage Brazil, imagine Pep Guardiola managing Pele's godson in Gabriel Martinelli. Secondly though, of course, in terms of Man City and potential replacements if Pep was to leave, as very reliable reports have confirmed in the past, they have been looking at Mikel Arteta. And thirdly, and more importantly, if and when Pep does leave Man City, him alongside Jurgen Klopp are two generational managers as it stands, standing at the top of the Premier League. So for an Arsenal team that's long-term ambition is to fight for titles, we need to be in the prime position to take advantage and potentially start an era of dominance for Arsenal Football Club. But that's all for the future. For now, the focus is on Saturday. It's Brighton at the Emirates Stadium. It's must win, it's gargantuan, and fingers crossed we can collect the 3 points there first. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to go down there and smash a like, and also do subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. Also make sure to check out your boy's new second channel. But that was all of the latest Arsenal news today, and now the attention turns to Saturday, 3 PM UK time, Emirates Stadium, Brighton, Hove and Albion, Graham Potter versus Mikel Arteta. For Arsenal, it is gargantuan, it's must win, so hopefully we get the results. Anyways, I'll see you next time, take care, and in a bit.